Cheetos, chopped cheese. Well. Have y'all seen this incident about the David guy? Or I don't know what his name. I've been seeing a lot of about him on the internet, but don't really know what it's about. And I seen this video that was talking about the whole thing, so let's just watch it in case you guys don't know what it is. Like me, then we can just go ahead and learn about it together, you know. Okay, this one I've seen.
Now, like a lot of you already know, the recent story surrounding singer David, spelled
Alright, if you guys not know about this case, like I did, let's learn about it together.
Now, like a lot of you already know, the
And
recent
if
story
you did, let me know like how did this start or what happened, you know, or what's the update on this case, because this video is kind of old. Well, not old, but old in the sense as, you know, anything can change on the case within a week. And I think this is like a week or two old.
surrounding singer David, spelled D4VD, is still dominating headlines. Police are still deep into their investigation of what really happened to 14-year-old Celeste Rivas, the young girl who was tragically found in the front trunk of the Tesla registered to the singer. Even though there's still no breakthrough information in what the authorities are treating as a homicide case, there have been a lot of things happening around this story and around David himself. So the goal of this video is to keep you fully informed with the verifiable details about what's going on right now with this David story. So with that being said, let's get into it, shall we? Let's run through a quick recap of what we know so far so everybody's in the loop with this story. Most of you probably know the basic gist of it, but for anyone who's not fully caught up, on September 8, headlines broke that an unidentified person had been found in the front trunk of a Tesla registered to the popular singer David, spelled D4VD. At that point, the remains were classified as a Jane Doe, which is a term investigators use when they haven't yet confirmed the victim's identity.
This is what I had heard about the body being found in a singer's Tesla, but I didn't know it was him.
But later, it was confirmed that the victim was a young girl named Celeste Rivas. Her body was discovered after the Tesla had been towed to a Hollywood impound lot, and when the staff noticed a foul odor, they opened the front trunk and made the discovery and then called the police. Not long after, detectives executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying, and they seized multiple electronics as part of the investigation.
And also what they were saying is that they found another body apart from that one in the same location, which is kind of weird. It's like, at that point, it might be a serial killer on the loose.
Home where David had been staying, and they seized multiple electronics as part of the investigation. At the same time, the medical examiner reported that the body inside was severely decomposed, to the point where it was very difficult for them to determine exactly what had happened to the little girl or how she died. We also know that neighbors told investigators that the car had been parked in that spot for over a month before it was finally towed away. Police also stated that the body had been in that Tesla for an extended period of time, though they haven't specified exactly how long. There's plenty of other details I could add, but I wanted to give you the essentials here. No need to drag this out because I know you got some other shit to do, okay? Ever since investigators were able to figure out the identity of the victim, their focus has been on piecing together what really happened to this little girl. During this time, the remains of Celeste Rivas have been with the medical examiner's office for review, but just a few days ago on Wednesday, her body was officially released back to her family. Now, that doesn't mean the investigation is over. In fact, the manner of her death, exactly how she died, still isn't public.
Okay, another thing that I seen is that y'all see the picture on the right, on the red side, where she's wearing that Gap hoodie. They were saying that there's pictures of him, the artist, seen with her that day that she was wearing that. Which, if I'm not wrong, I think is the last day that she was seen.
At this stage, investigators almost certainly know more than we do, but nothing has been shared with the public yet. And while police have been very quiet about the deeper details of this case, the big question in the middle of this entire thing is David's connection to Celeste. Her mother publicly stated that Celeste had a boyfriend named David. Multiple witnesses have also testified that they've seen them together. And
mind you, this guy is a 20-something-year-old. And that's a 14, 15-year-old girl. 14 at the time of her death. Because, yeah, she was found when she was 15, but it had been a while since she had been missing. So, a 14-year-old. That's crazy.
there are even pictures and live stream footage confirming that they did in fact know each other. What remains unclear, however, is the true extent of that relationship. Law enforcement has not confirmed whether David will face any charges based on this.
Because some were saying that they were, actually, like they said, boyfriend and girlfriend, right? But that they had been seeing each other or been with each other for a minute now, and had actually had relations together, which is kind of crazy. Again, this is allegedly because I seen this on another video, another clip. So I don't know if anything of this is true. So this is all alleged.
That relationship, law enforcement has not confirmed whether David will face any charges based on this connection. What we do know is that investigators are using every resource available to figure things out, and every piece of information that'll give them the answers to what they're looking for. The police chief himself confirmed that detectives are actively looking into the connection between David and Celeste, along with every other possible angle tied to the case. So that's obviously very interesting. We're going to have a separate conversation about the relationship between Celeste and David in another video. But right now, let's shift the focus to this. The last time we talked, I mentioned how authorities executed a search warrant at the Los Angeles property where David had been staying. The place was allegedly being rented by his manager, and it was the last spot David was staying at. When detectives searched the property, they walked out with multiple devices and electronics. And not only that, the house also has security cameras installed, which recorded everyone going in and out. At this point in time, investigators most likely have that footage in their possession. Now, when it comes to the search warrant, we've also learned that police are looking into the possibility that Celeste may have been killed inside the home David was staying at. And for anyone who's ever watched the show Dexter, which by the way is goated, you might remember how Dexter...
Yeah, for real. If you have not watched Dexter, fire show. And I just found out, well, not just found out, but I found out that there's like 2 or 3 other like different type of shows that also have to do with Dexter.
Used a spray when he was checking a crime scene, and that spray is called luminol, and it makes even the slightest traces of blood visible under certain lighting. According to LAPD's Scientific Investigation Division, during the 12-hour search of the property that David was staying at, detectives actually used luminol to check for any blood evidence. Because the body was discovered not far from where he was staying, investigators are clearly looking into whether something happened inside. On top of that, they also checked sink drains in case there had been any attempt to wash away any blood. They also swept the entire home for fingerprints and collected hair samples. So, for example, Celeste's hair is found inside. That could be a crucial piece of evidence. So right now, investigators are piecing together a timeline of Celeste Riba's final days. They're going back in time through her last known movements, and they're also digging into devices seized from the home that David was staying at. Questions like where was she last seen alive, who was she with, and what led to her disappearance, and obviously what exactly did they do to this little girl. And speaking of her last movements, I did some digging and I came across surveillance footage that shows what are believed to be the last images of Celeste before she vanished from home. The footage comes from a liquor store just down the street from her family's house in Lake Elsinore, California. Security cameras there, timestamped just after 7 a.m. on March 19th, 2024, captured a person in a black hoodie and white pants. Celeste's own family actually identified that the person was her, and in the video, You can see her jogging around the corner, switching between walking and running before disappearing from the frame. The store owner, a man named Eli Nadaf, later said that Celeste's sister actually came into the store that day asking to review the surveillance footage to check if Celeste had run away.
When she missing first time, her sister come in here, asked me, and we start looking at the camera to find out where she go and if we can find anything to get her back.
When her sister saw the footage, she confirmed it was her, and Nadaf gave the video to the family in hopes it would help them find her. And here's something important. This wasn't the first time Celeste had ran away. It's also been confirmed that she left home back in January 2024, just a few months before this case turned into an active missing persons investigation.
Never mind, she was 13. That's the time I'm telling ya when she went missing. She was 13 at the time. So they have been seeing each other for a minute. That's what I'm saying. A 13-year-old girlfriend as a 20-something-year-old is kind of sick-minded. Well, not kind of sick-minded, bro.
By the way, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to drop a little like for the algorithm, okay? And make sure you tap in with me by subscribing so I can keep you fully informed on this David story. Continuing, so now let's go over some of the other things happening around this story. Not necessarily the investigation itself, but details that are still very important. Starting with the testimonies of people who allegedly saw David and Celeste together. According to people who partied with and knew singer David, a lot of them were under the impression that Celeste was his girlfriend, and many of them say that they were shocked when the news came out that she was only 14 years old. Sources from the LA music scene told TMZ they saw both of them at parties and hangouts, and to them, it looked like they were a couple. So these people who seen David and Celeste together, they were like, oh, that's a couple right there. That's what they thought. They thought that they were just generally together because I guess that's how they were moving, right? We also found out that some of these people actually thought that Celeste was a University of Southern California student. Shout out to USC. Friends believed she was around 19 years old because that's how she presented herself, apparently. And here's where it gets even more...
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, some of these girls do be looking older, so if they out there, you know what I'm saying, like he said, dressing and looking older, and nobody asked them, which that's how I do that nowadays, shit. You gotta do, I guess. But yeah, sometimes even if you ask them what, they can easily lie. So I don't know, man. But like he said, everybody thought she was 19, so that's probably why nobody said anything. But at the same time, the guy that's dating her, the artist, or that is allegedly dating her, was I'm pretty sure that he had to have known her age. Otherwise, like, how are you going to be dating someone or hanging around with someone and you don't even know how old they are?
18 years old because that's how she presented herself, apparently. And here's where it gets even more interesting, okay? Because according to law enforcement sources, Celeste was apparently able to move around so freely because she had multiple fake IDs, all in an effort to appear much older than she actually was. So that would explain why people assumed they were together. If David showed up at an 18 plus function and Celeste was with him, most people probably just thought nothing of it, right? Now let's talk a little bit about the Tesla itself, because there's actually a private investigator, a guy by the name of Steve Fisher, who managed to obtain photos of the Tesla 5 days before the body was discovered and 3 days before it ended up at the impound lot. Here's what we know, okay? A complaint was...
What? Imagine the body has already been there for that long, and he has a picture of the actual Tesla with the body in it, and he just didn't know at that time.
To obtain photos of the Tesla 5 days before the body was discovered and 3 days before it ended up at the impound lot. Here's what we know, okay? A complaint was first made about the car on August 26th. And just explain for my international viewers, because not everybody's American, right? When someone makes a complaint like that, it usually means the vehicle has been left unattended for too long and is being reported as abandoned. At that point, there was no mention of any kind of odor coming from the car. On August 27th, just 3 days later, an officer inspected the car. Then on September 3rd, it was ticketed. A couple of days later, on September 5th, the Tesla was officially towed, and by September 6th or 5th, I believe it was actually registered at the impound lot. Now, one key detail here, the car was not reported stolen at the time, okay? Very important. So this timeline suggests that the Tesla was just sitting there unnoticed, even after being reported as abandoned. Nobody flagged it as stolen. Nobody connected it to anything bigger until it finally got towed and that discovery was eventually made. Now, one thing that really makes you wonder is,
That's what's weird. I mean, if your car got stolen, wouldn't you have reported it right away? Not wait until it gets towed? That is kind of weird. They're trying to make it seem as if they didn't know the car was being used for the murder. But it made them more suspicious.
How come there was no smell reported at the time when that first complaint was made? It could be that
that too is yeah, 5 days before the body was found, that's a whole week almost, so in a week the body can just decompose that much more.
It could be that how do you say that word? Decomposition? Decomposition. I'm sorry. English is my third language. My apologies. It could be that the decomposition process hadn't fully started.
Not him doing a quick flex. English is my third
How do you say that word? Decomposition? Decomposition. I'm sorry. English is my third language. My apologies. It could be that the decomposition process hadn't fully started yet, which would explain why nobody noticed an odor back then. But that's something investigators are obviously looking into right now. And until we get the official details, all we can do is note how unusual that part of the timeline really is. Now let's also touch on this photo right here, okay? It's gonna stay on the screen for like 2-3 seconds. Obviously I blurred the woman's face, okay? See this photo right here? Okay, good. Let's also touch on this photo right here that started circulating online of a mystery woman at one of David's shows in the DMV, Maryland. Shout out to Maryland. Shout out to the DMV, okay? Some people are claiming that this was actually Celeste. And from the research I've done, that actually was not her. The woman.
Yes.
This photo right here, okay? See this photo right here? Okay, good. Let's also touch on this photo right here that started circulating online of a mystery woman at one of David's shows in the DMV. Woman's face, okay? See this photo right here? Okay, good. Let's also touch on this photo right here that started circulating online of a mystery woman at one of David's shows in the DMV, Maryland. Shout out to Maryland. Shout out to the DMV, okay? Some people are claiming that this was actually Celeste. And from the research I've done, that actually was not her. The woman in the photo does look very, very similar, but it's been confirmed she was not Celeste, okay? Now shifting the conversation to David's career itself, because the reality is he's actually bigger than ever in the middle of all this, right? Recently, David actually had the biggest streaming day of his career on Spotify, pulling in over 12 million streams in a single day. That's crazy. And I think a lot of it just comes down to the curiosity factor. I mean, a lot of people are just now finding out about him because of this story, which is pushing his name further into the spotlight. So that's where we're currently at in this David spelled D4VD story. Right now, we're still very much in the dark on...
Another theory I've seen is that he was set up, or that his team set it up to look like it was him, just for publicity, which would be a crazy, crazy stunt to do with something serious like that, like a homicide or someone's life being taken.
A lot of the crucial details. I know a lot of people are frustrated with the lack of answers, but cases like this take time, especially given the gravity of the situation. Also, let's not forget a little girl's life was lost, okay? And investigators have to make sure they build this case carefully if they want to hold the right person accountable, whoever that person may be. It's also worth noting that David himself hasn't said anything publicly, which honestly does make sense. At the end of the day, this is an active investigation, and his lawyers are probably advising him to stay quiet. On another note, I've been seeing a lot of misinformation about this case going around, and I really want to urge other creators and commentators, don't spread misinformation just for clicks. A child's life was lost here, and the focus should be on accuracy, not sensationalism. I'm personally invested in finding out the truth about what happened to Celeste, because a little girl lost her fucking life, bro. It's only the right thing to do. And my goal whenever I speak on a story is only to give you the facts, not speculation, just what we know. with that being said, if you made it this far, drop a like on this video, subscribe for the algorithm, and this is everything.
I'm telling you guys. The second part. Hey man, let's just continue. Cause we do not want to get deep into this case. Let's continue with something else. You see, it's all over the place. New David update just got more creepy. See what I'm talking about? David news got me shocked. Man, might as well just watch it. Alright, y'all, so let's watch this update on the David case. It's
Now, if you've been on social media,
the David story just got really dark. Let's see how dark it gets. It's already dark enough, man. A 14-year-old, 13-year-old girl being killed by this dude, allegedly. It's already crazy, man. How darker can it get?
Now, if you've been on social media the last week, you probably heard about the viral story surrounding popular singer David, spelled D4VD. It started when the body of a Jane Doe was found inside a Tesla registered to him. At first, there was no confirmation that David had any connection to her until now. The David story just got really dark, and in this video, I'm going to break it down all together with you. So drop a like on this video because you're in for one hell of a story. Now, before we get into the latest developments, let's rewind for a second because just a few days ago, this is what we knew. Popular singer David, spelled D4VD, a 20-year-old Houston-raised artist who blew up on TikTok with...
Wait, he's from Houston?
Spelled D4VD. It started when the body of a Jane Doe was found inside a Tesla registered to him. At first, there was no confirmation that David had any connection to her until now. The David story just got really dark, and in this video, I'm going to break it down all together with you. So drop a like on this video because you're in for one hell of a story. Now, before we get into the latest developments, let's rewind for a second because just a few days ago, this is what we knew. Popular singer David, spelled D4VD, a 20-year-old Houston-raised artist who blew up on TikTok with his song Romantic Homicide, a sleeper hit with over 1.6 billion streams on Spotify that opened the door for him to a major record deal, global 1.6 billion streams on Spotify that opened the door for him to a major record deal,
not million, but billion, y'all.
Global recognition, tours, and major brand collabs. On the surface, he was just a young star living the dream life. But about a week ago, Los Angeles police made a discovery, one that would soon be connected to David himself. On September 8th, 2025, police in Los Angeles found a decomposed body inside a Tesla, and that Tesla was registered to a David Burke, which turned out to be popular singer David himself. According to reports, workers at an impound lot noticed a foul odor coming from the car.
Same thing, huh?
On September 8th, 2025, police in Los Angeles found a decomposed body inside a Tesla, and that Tesla was registered to a David Burke, which turned out to be popular singer David himself. According to reports, workers at an impound lot noticed a foul odor coming from the car. When they opened up the Tesla's trunk, they discovered human remains stuffed inside a bag. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner described her as a female about 5'2", weighing just 71 pounds, which equals to 32 kilograms for my international viewers. She had wavy black hair, metal stud earrings, a yellow bracelet, and a tattoo on her right index finger that literally read, "Shh," like, "Shh, quiet."
And you know what they were saying? That the artist has the same tattoo. As if they got it to match with each other. Crazy, huh?
For my international viewers. She had wavy black hair, metal stud earrings, a yellow bracelet, and a tattoo on her right index finger that literally read, "Shh," like, "Shh, quiet." At the time, her name wasn't released, but those details alone were shocking as they were considering who this car was connected to. The LAPD confirmed the vehicle had been sitting in the yard for days, and they even had to call David himself, who was on tour at the time, to inform him that his car had a body inside of it. And David was cooperating with the police and claimed he had no knowledge the yard for days, and they even had to call David himself, who was on tour at the time, to inform him that his car had a body inside of it. And David was...
Yeah, I think he knew.
But those details alone were shocking as they were considering who this car was connected to. The LAPD confirmed the vehicle had been sitting in the yard for days, and they even had to call David himself, who was on tour at the time, to inform him that his car had a body inside of it. And David was cooperating with the police and claimed he had no knowledge of what they found. But while that was happening, the fallout started hitting him hard. Clothing brand Hollister, who had just launched a campaign with David, pulled his images from their website and seemingly ended their relationship with the singer quietly. And at the same time, the internet was asking a lot of questions, right? How did this young, popular artist with no history of
Bro, imagine that you just got a deal with a clothing brand, and because something out of the blue pops out that it could not have nothing to do with you, there's a possibility that he could have not done it. So that's what I'm saying that. But yeah, imagine you just got your brand deal and that comes out of nowhere. Like, bro,
violence
what are the
suddenly
odds?
get tied to something this disturbing. For the past week, things have been up in the air.
Just imagine if it's not true. That literally just messed up that business opportunity for him.
With no
Because
real
of a
answers, but what's come out
alleged
since then changes everything.
Situation.
A week after the news broke, we finally got confirmation of who that person was. According to NBC News, the victim was identified through forensics as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. Celeste had been reported missing out of Lake Elsinore back in April of 2024. According to authorities, she left her home around 9 p.m. one evening and never came back. Her family put out flyers, posted her photos, and pleaded for anyone with information to come forward so their baby girl could be brought home. At the time of her disappearance, she had last been seen wearing gray pants, a black sweater, and Hello Kitty sandals. So when police connected the remains inside David's Tesla to Celeste through forensic testing, it wasn't just a tragic discovery. It was the end of a year-long search her family had been desperately holding on to hope for. Authorities
A whole year, man. A whole year that she had been missing. Wow. Imagine that she ran away with him, right? And then because she was a minor, he couldn't be seen with her or anything, so he wouldn't post her or anything. So it only made it easier for him if he did do it to get rid of the evidence, or to make it seem as if he wasn't the one responsible.
also said that she had likely been dead inside that Tesla for an extended period of time before the body was discovered. Right now, the exact cause of death has not yet been determined. The LAPD says the coroner has not classified the case as a homicide or released a manner of death, and there are no suspects at this time. As for David himself, real name David Burke, a spokesperson said he was informed of the situation and that he is fully cooperating with authorities. At the time, like we stated, he was of course on tour, but his scheduled show in Seattle was canceled immediately after the news broke. So with Celeste now identified, the tragedy hit even harder. A 15-year-old little girl who had been missing since 2024 was found in the trunk of a car registered to a popular singer in the music industry. Just as the internet was trying to process what happened, police have officially made their next move, and it shows just how serious they're taking this case right here. Within 48 hours of Celeste being officially identified, investigators made their next move. Police executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying. He doesn't own the property, but sources confirmed it was a place he had been living recently. And here's where things get more serious. TMZ reports that the home was actually rented by David's manager, and detectives did not leave empty-handed. LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division walked out with several evidence bags and a computer. Photos and videos posted earlier this year even showed David inside the house, singing with producer Benny Blanco in the kitchen and dancing in the living room. TMZ compared the interiors of that footage to real estate listings, and they matched the property that police searched. Neighbors also recall seeing that same Tesla parked outside the house for days before it was eventually towed. A car with Texas plates and a big dent that stood out on the street. At the time, no one thought much of it, but looking back now, perhaps it was no coincidence. So for now, police haven't classified this as a homicide because the medical examiner still hasn't determined exactly how Celeste died. The Tesla was abandoned and towed on September 6th, and just 2 days later, workers at the impound lot made the grim discovery. Investigators say the case now depends on the coroner's findings. And so far, the process has apparently been very difficult. I'm assuming it's probably because, her body was decomposed, so that would make a lot of sense, right? No arrests have been made so far, but the fact that LAPD homicide detectives are searching homes connected to David shows just how closely they're closing in on his world. And if that wasn't enough, okay, the plot has thickened even more, and we got some new details that make the story darker than anyone expected. Here's where things get even darker. According to TMZ, investigators may be looking at a direct connection between David and Celeste herself, and after TMZ got a tip that the victim might be Celeste, they reached out to her mother, and her mother confirmed two things. Number one, first, that Celeste apparently had a boyfriend named David, and number two, that she had a tattoo on her right index finger that said, "Shh." Now that right there is not new information, right? It lined up exactly with what the initial reports from the coroner were saying, but here's where things get crazy, because David himself has the exact same tattoo inked on his right
that he has the same tattoo, the shh
index finger. And on the screen right now, you'll see a picture of that. So let's just keep this on the screen for a second if you want to check it out, because I don't want you rewinding this and going out of your way to, rewind.
But some people were also saying that is a popular tattoo and that she might have just been a fan and wanted to get it because he has it.
So as you guys can see, here's the picture. Looking, you see it? Great. Let's keep it moving. All right, so this is already a lot. I ain't even gonna lie, this is a lot. Okay, so let's just sit with this for a second. They found a body in a Tesla registered to David. It ends up being 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who's been missing since April 2024. Ma Dukes, Celeste's mother, said her daughter had a boyfriend named David, and on top of all that, they both
this is just the same thing over and over. Like I told you guys, this is just the same story. I was right. Let's move on. El oscuro caso de David. Te contamos todo lo que se sabe hasta ahora. There isn't a serial killer in Houston. 6 person found in Bayou. Police says killings unrelated.
More surveillance along our bayous after another body is found in a Houston waterway.
Police say a woman's body was found in Buffalo Bayou near Commerce and Milam Streets downtown last night. This is the 6th body recovered in less than 2 weeks from bayous across town. 5 of the deceased have now